Well, we had grapes and apples. We had some milk cows. We had wonderful parents. I guess I was 17, and my husband was in the Army, and when he got out, well, we moved to Prairie Grove. And then we went to Washington, stayed about 6 months, and come back, and we've been in Prairie Grove for the rest of the time. And in about 2 or 3 months after we got married, he went overseas, and he was in combat 9 days, and he got wounded, and he was in the hospital 10 months. And he come back, but they brought him back over here. Lots of cars parked crossways there, and they had a theater. We had a theater then, and we had 2 or 3 dry goods stores, and I think there was 4 or 5 grocery stores, and everybody was in town on Saturday. I only went with my mother-in-law. She'd write her name on the back of the tickets and put them in there in the barrel, and that's and then they'd draw them out, and we go up to the park that's where they had the drawing. Yes, they come in wagons. They say we had Ella Yacht. We lived by her, and she was a good neighbor. And now that's when we lived downtown. But we didn't live down there for about 3 years, and we moved out here. We've been out here ever since. Oh, they had the Crescent. Of course, it was there for years. And then Neil's had a store that had clothing in, and then there was a furniture store too, or 2 in town too. I don't know why, because they were so different. He was a mechanic.
Tell me more about that.
Well, he had a little shop, but he worked in a shop for a long time. But then he had a little one. He had one of his own then. Until he retired. I worked at Camel Soup. We worked in packing chickens in boxes at about 47. Oh, I stayed there 12 years. Me and Barney's sister started going to the Christian church, and we went up there for years, for 38 years I think it was. I went up there. I remember having the clothesline when they had the clothesline fair. It wasn't like it is now. It didn't have as much, near as much, going in as it did. It was just a little thing. And they had some rides and things for the kids then too. And then they had, they'd have crocheted stuff and stuff like that to sell. Then we had more stores, and places to shop than we have now. But because I think we had 4 grocery stores and a 10-cent store and 2 dry goods stores. We had a jewelry store here, I remember that. Well, they had watches, and he worked on watches and things. You had a little bit of time to shop. Now it's all antiques, and I've got to be one too. Whenever Barney come home from the Army and we moved to Prairie Grove, we had electricity, but my mom and dad lived over there on that Lake Wellington Road, and they didn't have it till I don't know when it was, before they got electricity over there. But they did get it while my mom still lived there. Daddy was dead, but Mama still lived there. As soon as we got electricity, when we moved to Prairie Grove and we had electricity, I was happy. It was wonderful. Well, before you couldn't see where you was going or anything else, and then after we got it, after, we didn't have any appliance hardly, but we had lights but we didn't have any I don't remember having any appliances at all. I seem like we got a refrigerator on a school at Bellevue, little school down on Lake Wellington Road. I went to the 8th grade and then we walked to school for sure. Well, it was about a mile and a half we walked. It was 2 rooms, and they had to the 8th grade. But I started to school at Whitmar down by Stillwell, and I went. That was my second year. I went to school down there. Then we moved up here, and I went to school the rest of the time up here at Bellevue. I've been happy living here, I know that. And it used to be a real good town, to shop, but it don't, it's not that way. Everything's different. I worked down there 2 or 3 years in the fall before, and then I worked in strawberries. They fixed strawberries then too, and I worked in the strawberries at night, and then it was a tomato factory in daytime. That was about 55, something like that. They had buckets that you could peel tomatoes in, and I don't know, I want to say about 10 cents a bucket. Everything was hard work and no pay back then. Money went further than it does now. And then I went to work at Camel Soup, and I worked there 12 years. We'd cut it up like they wanted to cut up and wrap it and put it in the freezer and freeze it, and then they'd come and get it, put in their home freezers.
What years did you work at the locker plant? About what years?
68 through 90.
Yeah.
90 probably.
Yeah.
Who ran the plant?
John Mobley. Well, all I know is that I went out there one time, and it was, a lot late. I mean, they had already moved out from it, but they lived there, and I saw some pictures of them, and people that Mobleys lived there. Well, it was just a hole in the back of the house. I mean, kind of under a rock. And I don't know what they done. I saw the pictures in the summertime, and I don't know what they done in the wintertime. I guess they fastened it up some way though. It was out there by the lake, by the Prairie Grove Lake.